In this week's brand new episode of Hill Climb Monsters in Project Cars 2, the mighty Ferrari F40 LM takes on our brutal Azure Coast Hill Climb course. But with over 700 brake horsepower at its disposal, has this near 30-year-old twin-turbo behemoth still got it? Let's go find out. What's going on, guys? My name is Martinio and welcome back to Project Cars 2 and a brand new episode of Hill Climb Monsters. And before we jump into it, apologies the video didn't come out yesterday. If you follow me on Twitter or Facebook, you'll know that there was a problem with my cat's eye. He wouldn't open it, he couldn't open it for some reason. So we had to take him to the vets to get him all checked out, and bank holiday, so it cost a bit of money. Yeah, not happy about that. But he's fine now, so there we go. We can go back to thoroughly disliking the little shit. But I'm only joking. But yeah, so moving on to the video itself and this week's challenger, it is of course the Ferrari F40 LM. And the reason I went for this car this week is we haven't done a Ferrari in a little while. I think the last one was a couple of months back with the 355 challenge, I think it was. So high time we got another Ferrari on the leaderboards, I reckon. So yeah, let's jump into the episode and start as we always do by taking a look at some of the stats. So produced in 1989, it is falling into the GTO category. It's rear-wheel drive, of course. It's got a 5-speed gearbox bolted to a twin-turbo, if memory serves correctly, V8 engine, producing a massive 715 brake horsepower. 0 to 60 comes up in just shy of 4 seconds. It'll go all the way to 230 miles an hour. The weight is coming in at 2,300 pounds. There's no traction, stability, or ABS, or any of that stuff. Control difficulty is 3, and cornering speed is 2 there. So yeah, fairly impressive all around there, especially that power figure. But yeah, I mean, the Ferrari F40 is probably one of the cars that every kid of a certain age had on their bedroom walls. It's an amazing looking car. I love the look of the Ferrari F40. It's one of my favourite Ferraris, even though I'm not a great fan of Ferrari. But like I said, the great thing about Ferrari is, for this one anyway, this was the last car that Enzo Ferrari personally approved. So that makes it a little bit special as well. It ran numerous championships. While I think the production of the Ferrari F40, the road car, went from 89 to 92, they were still producing LMs, or still running LMs and LM GTEs all the way to 96. So had a fairly long shelf life, and it was a favourite among drivers, a real driver's car, and that was the reason it was built, actually, because a lot of Ferrari customers said, they're getting a bit too soft and we feel a bit too pampered. We want something brutal with no air conditioning and plastic windows and paint so thin we can actually see the weave of the carbon fibre. That's why it was a driving machine. It was there. There was no aids at all, no launch control. It was just your right foot and your talent that got this thing around the track. So there we go. But on to practice and setup. As you would imagine from a car like that, where it's just about driving talent, it was a tricky one to drive. It really was. It was oversteery. It would snap on you at any time. The brakes were terrible. I just couldn't find a balance with them in terms of either the bias or the pressures as well. It would just snap on you like a bear trap as soon as you even think about any sort of heavy braking. And like I said, getting the bias right and the balance with the braking front to back was really difficult. You go too far forward, you're just going to be locking at the front. If you go even a teensy bit too far backwards, the rears will snap, and that'll be that really. You can recover from the front brake, locking the front brakes. With the rear ones, however, very rare you can get it back. So yeah, and like I said, the fact that this car has 2 turbochargers probably didn't help things, purely because a lot of the acceleration zones, you're sort of cornering at the same time, so you've really got to nail the gear changes, maybe even go a little bit early, short shift it a little bit, because if it hits the red line, it will spin the rear wheels up, and then that's it. It will just snap on you, and that'll be the end of your run and the end of your hopes and dreams, and maybe even your life, who knows. But yeah, so like I said, very, very tricky car to drive. I did soften it up a little bit. At times you do have to try and kind of drive it, when you're going through like sort of quick changes of direction, we're going left to right and left to right in quick succession. You do have to sort of drive it a little bit like a rally car. You have to just feel that weight transfer and just weave it back and forth a little bit there. But yeah, it wasn't ideal, and I didn't find the right balance. I tried as much as I could, but but I just couldn't find the right balance. So yeah, difficult car to set up and drive. Because of that, as you would imagine, there were a few accidents. So this first one at the Magic Roundabout, just couldn't get it slowed down, wouldn't turn in, and it would just kind of resign to defeat at this point. And you know, off we go over the barriers and into the road sign there. And then this one is an example of, like I said, just it just snaps on you, just coming down to there. Maybe just tag the curb ever so slightly, and then that just sent it just completely skew whiff, and there we go, run over pretty much for that. So yeah, very, very tricky car to drive. But moving on to the leaderboards, so as you can see here, our best time in this particular category, which I think is the GT class, is from a few weeks back, the Pelos Esperante GTR1 with that 623.856. Fairly confident it's not going to get anywhere close to that. But the fastest Ferrari F40 time on the board is all the way down on page number 8 and position 76. Someone called Rock Notty with a 718.992 there. So that's a goal to beat. We're definitely going to be aiming for that as well. But if we can get it under 7 minutes, sorry, under 6 is a pipe dream. Under 7 minutes, I think I'll be happy. But in terms of our leaderboards, don't think it's going to trouble the first page, but the second page, which we've got here, there's a couple of Ferraris on there. You got the FXXK, which was terrible also, in 12th position. You got the Ferrari 488 Challenge down in 17th there. So yeah, not really much for it to go up against. We've only had one other GTO car, and I think that was the Lamborghini Diablo GTR, which is down on page number 3, but like a 718 or a 717 sort of time there. So yeah, so I think if it can beat that, but I think it's going to be on page number 2 that we're going to find this car. So there we go. But yeah, so that's pretty much everything. So let's go see how the old Fezzer does. So let's head down to the track and take a look at how it got on its best run. Okay then, guys. So here we go. Ferrari F40 LM on our Azure Coast Hill Climb course. As we come down to the first corner. Very, very tricky first corner, I might add. You've got to you've got to keep your foot in it. That's sort of the theme with turbocharged cars. You've got to keep your foot in it, otherwise the turbos are just going to wind down, and then you're going to get massive lag when you try to get out of some of the slow speed corners. And a big lock up there as we come through Cruise Liner corner, and then on towards Trash Can corner again. Not bad through here. Found the apex nice and easily, and away we go, having to be sort of gentle on the throttle, a little bit wary because you can see now I'm just having to work at the wheel a little bit because it can just get out of shape on you. And then down towards the Magic Roundabout again, a little bit of a lock, about 100 miles an hour through there, get over the bump and off we go again, making sure we don't hit that bollard on the right hand side there, and up towards Stickman Squats now. Get down to the second gear, get the nose in. It wasn't too bad for turning, and you know, generally trying to find the apex, it was pretty good. You do get the odd bit of understeering. I think that's purely because sometimes you're locking the brakes and it just will not turn in because you can't get the car slowed down enough. But onto the happy highway, and it was almost an unhappy one there, as you can see. Almost got out of shape and into the barriers and over the hump now. Get a little bit of air there, and we're going to get all the way up beyond 190 miles an hour as we come down to Traffic Cone corner. Get it through here. This was a really tricky one. You can see I'm just sawing at the wheel just to try and keep the rear of the car in check. And over this hump now, and we're going to be coming down towards Stonewall corner now, just to clear out a couple of those bollards, don't need them. And away we go again. Again, you can just see I'm just very, very hesitant through here. It's just when you're accelerating through and you're turning at the same time, that's where this car can really trip you up. But down into understeer, not really a hint of it. It was okay through the slower speed corners, but like I said, the big problem was just to try and get this thing slowed down. And into Ice Cream Cove now, very, very bumpy through here. And you just got to be very, very gentle, and again, get on the brakes. Don't quite get the apex for this one, only just get it turned in. And like I said, that's the problem. The braking was the issue. That's what's causing maybe understeer, or what looks like understeer, where it's not getting in and getting to the apex. It's just you can't get it slowed down, and you sort of, purely because of my, you know, the box I've got for my brakes, it's just a 2-pedal set. There's no load cell or anything like that. That probably does make it a little bit more difficult. But as we go through the slowest corner on the course, Captain Slow corner, we make it through there okay. Through here, I did have a few issues through here where the rear of the car, so you just see I'm hesitant just to get on the power. It's very much one of those point and squirt sort of cars. You've got to get it all squared up before you get on the beans, because it will bite you otherwise. And through Ice Cream Cove now, a little bit of a wobble there. Not Ice Cream Cove, sorry, this is Silver Spoon Village, and across McDanger Curve, named after, of course, Todd McDanger, who hasn't commented on any of my videos recently. So if you're out there, Todd, make sure you go and comment. and everybody else go and comment now as well. And through here down onto outrun again, just purely because you're being hesitant on the throttle, you can't get out of fourth gear. Normally with most cars you're getting into top gear through there, but not for this one. And off we go again, now down towards what will be Bridge Corner. And again, you can see there a little bit of a moment just having to hesitate. And when the car's like this, you tend to, I don't know, it felt like I was sort of underdriving it a little bit. That's the best way I can describe it, because I didn't feel like I could push it to the limit with any confidence. I mean, look, even here, a little bit of a lot there, just managed to catch it. And like I said, that corner was a troublesome one as we come into the Monga McRae Hill complex. So, yeah, I mean, most of the brake problems with the front, but like I said, even there, look, just almost going sideways over that bump. It's just such a tricky car to drive. It really was. Just, it would punish you just so brutally if you a little bit late on a gear change or a little bit late on the brakes or turning. It would just not only bite you, it would just crush your arm and drag you under the water and then proceed to eat you with his alligator friends. I'm assuming this is an alligator because that's just as vicious, but there we go. And on we go now to the Camel Straight, over the first hump. Pretty okay through there. The second hump we're going to go completely nose down, and if the hitboxes were proper on Project Cars, it's a good job they're not, because we would have tore the front end of the car completely off through that one. But through the first and second Mirage corners, again, just being very gentle on the throttle. Again, these bumps, they can really unsettle and unload those rear wheels, so you've got to be careful through there, because if you unload them, just going to spin up, and when you do hit the ground again, it's going to be game over pretty much. But get the nose in, get across that grass like we like to help bring the car around, and off we go again. Again, just being very, very gentle, and again over through here, the bumps, you can just hear it, just making sure the car's nice and settled, that I'm not putting my foot down before all four wheels are back on the course, basically. But through the tunnel onto the Great Ocean Highway, again, just being gentle through there. I've been through there flat through with with flat or just a little lip, but not with this thing. No, this thing will bite you if you do not. If you try and maybe overdrive it a little bit. It's one of those cars you just can't overdrive. You have to underdrive it to almost get the best out of it and to get around the course as well, especially on a course such as this. And coming through this left and then right, did have a couple of problems through here. And again, just with this car as well, you're just reluctant when you're not quite getting to the apex. You're reluctant to put a bit more lock in, purely because it will set the rear off. So you sort of have to ride it out and not be on the optimal line for corners. If you do happen to sort of miss a braking zone or miss a point for turning, and again through here, just again, it just will not go its nose in. Probably just being a bit late on the turning, because I was having to sort of balance the rear of the car out a little bit, just spinning the rears up and those turbos kicking in. I was running this with 100% boost as well, which made things all the more difficult. Could I have made it a bit easier by just lowering the boost a little bit, potentially, but honestly, I wanted the challenge. I wanted the challenge, and I wanted this car in its full brutal potential, just to see what it can do and what I could do with it, to be perfectly honest. But on to Rocky Road now, and again, you can see I'm just very, very hesitant just to try and push it and get into that fourth gear potentially. There's a couple of opportunities where I possibly could, but again, you're going to have to come down, because it will not get through the corner in fourth otherwise. And into fourth we go now, and again, just being very gentle, just trying to judge what that rear end might do at any given moment. Getting down to third through the final corner and through the tunnel now, and down towards the line and across it, and it's going to be a time of 6 minutes 48.897. So we've hit that target we set ourselves, which was to go sub 7 minutes around here, but there's definitely more time to find with this car, and it's just all going to be on the setup side, finding a better balance and just getting the car into a position where I can actually, really go and drive it properly rather than underdrive it just to nurse it to the end of the run, if that makes sense. So yeah, the time of course doesn't get placed on the leaderboards, but if it did, it would have been on page number 4 and position number 34. Got some fairly illustrious company there. A couple of GT1 cars. We've got 3 or 4 GT1 cars there. We've got a GTE car. We've got a Renault Sport RS01 as well. So yeah, and in terms of our Hill Climb Monsters leaderboards, it goes into 19th position on page number 2. Half a second slower than a Porsche 908-3 and 1.2 seconds nearest makes no difference slower than a Ferrari 488 Challenge. So there we go. But yeah, like I said, it's just the balance and the setup and just getting that right so I can actually go and drive the car. So if you guys have driven the Ferrari F40 LM and you have any sort of pearls of wisdom for setup for myself or for anyone else who might be watching and thinking of driving this car, don't hesitate to leave a comment down below. Always happy to hear from you, because there are quite a few of you out there who have a better setup know-how than me. Well, there's probably everybody has a better setup know-how than me, but if you do have any pearls of wisdom, like I said, leave a comment down below. But there we go, guys. So the Ferrari F40 LM goes into 19th position on our leaderboard with that 648.897. But yeah, that's the end of today's video, guys. Apologies, it's coming later than planned and there's not going to be a second video. I've just had endless interruptions and things I've had to sort out today, so apologies for that. There isn't going to be a second video today, but tomorrow I'm hoping there will be. We'll have Dirt Rally 2.0, a brand new career mode episode, and depending on when it's fully released, we'll be checking out the full-blown release of Assetto Corsa Competizione. So if you're new to my channel, you've liked what you see here, or you want to see those videos, then make sure you go ahead, leave a like and subscribe, and when you do subscribe, hit that bell notification so you get updates for all of my new videos whenever they go live. Also, be sure to check me out on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram, Twitter and Facebook especially, because I posted a Niki Lauda tribute video in F1 2018, and it was actually featured on the Gfinity esports page on their Twitter account. So if you're following them, you've probably seen it, but if you haven't, then you can go check them out and check out the video. They've put like a snippet of the video up, like just a lap, but I did a much longer video on my Facebook page. So depending on which one you want to see, you can go check them out. There are links in the description down below. But yeah, once again, guys, thank you everybody so much for watching. Stay cool, and as always, I will catch you in the next video. Peace.